Hi, dear astrologer from Bello to Vero, official.wordpress.com, and I want to talk about part of fortune. Um, so it's about ancient astrologers use formulas and Arabic parts to figure out uh different things in the birth chart. And it's about the ascendant, sun, and moon. Part of fortune is when you take the formula and figure out where like together the ascendant, sun, and moon, where that shows up. Um, so the formulas are about adding and subtracting and figuring out, where the part of fortune is. So anyway, it's not something you need to figure out. If you want to put it in a birth chart calculator, it'll figure it out for you, because there's um formulas for a day and night. It's not necessary for you to figure that out. But I just have a couple notes here on just the basic outline of the part of fortune. Um, so I don't forget anything, because I want to say a couple of things that are really important that I need to remember. So it's whenever people see you developing your personality and being able to express your personality and how you're getting ahead with where the part of fortune is. Whenever you're doing what's in the birth chart, where the zodiac sign and the house that fortune is in, whenever you're brave enough to just do whatever wherever fortune is, whenever you're brave enough to embrace that zodiac sign in that house, then you'll get fortune to you. People interested in what you're all about, what your fortune is all about, the zodiac sign in the house, that's when you get fortune to you. Whenever you get people, interested in you and care what you're all about and want to be a part of it, and whenever people see you doing this, that's when fortune will come to you. Um, Whenever you're developing your personality and um, how easy it is to express yourself. Whenever you have an easy time of expressing yourself, that's fortune. It's whenever people see your personality being developed, whenever it is developed, and people, like that about you, that's fortune. Um when it's in Aries or the first house, it's all about your ego and let me just see something here. Okay, so I want to mention, whenever you look successful, that's fortune. Whenever you are doing what's in your birth chart, wherever fortune is, zodiac sign and the house, if you look successful doing what's in your birth chart about fortune, that gives you fortune, that gives you the people and the situations and the personality of, being successful and having fortune, whenever people see you being successful, whenever they think you're successful, that's when you're doing your fortune properly. And whenever it's in the first house, you have to have an ego, like in a good way, not snotty, like whatever kind of a way, not I mean, it can be to a certain extent because it's Aries, because you need to own your personality with this placement, but not like, fuck off. I don't care, about anyone else on this planet. It's just you have to be around people with this placement and just show your personality. Like you care to be yourself, you care to say what your opinions are. And it's a little bit like the North Node in Aries or the first house. Like you don't ask people what to think or to feel or to express. You tell them what you want to express. You have an ego in a good way, a healthy way, and get your expressions out there. And you be fast, be confident, and you know be like a leader. And um you know just Aries is the ram, so use those horns, and just get into whatever situation you're in and conversations with people. And like just put yourself out there and express yourself and let people see your ego and what you want to tell people about, what you think or what you want to do. Don't be afraid to, just let people see your personality and see your confidence. And not ask people what you should be doing. You tell them what you want out of you know relationships or whatever, your personality. And you know um wherever, home or work, you express who you are, and then that'll get people on board with you to want to pay attention to you. And that's when you get fortune coming to you, when you can express yourself in that kind of a way. um and with the second house or Taurus, that's all about self-establishment and your values. And like whenever it's like this is my placement, like one of the my fortune is in Virgo in the second house. So like whenever I would like show you what is valuable to me, is what I'm trying to say. What matters to me, and make sure like are being true to your personality, what is in your birth chart, your sun sign, your you know wherever fortune is, like in the zodiac sign too. You know uh like for me, Aquarius, my sun sign, like philanthropy for one thing. My foundation is all about no walls and loving yourself and loving other people, letting people in your life and not you know putting up walls because of fear. That's important to me. That's what I mean by the second house values. What your values are, showing people what matters to you, and investing in what matters to you, like in not putting money into something as off, but like investing in what matters to you, putting effort and energy and your time into what matters to you. And being brave enough to, get self established, your own self establishment, not someone else's, not anyone else's anything, is your own self establishment and what matters to you. And Um, I'm just gonna add my own experience to this, like in relationships and um for my foundation, but my personal, you know, belief system, which is Jupiter, which Jupiter transits can influence this. And being around people, if you're around people, you can develop this, like your belief systems. And I want to explain this a little bit so you can know each one of these has a lot more detail than I can explain for each person because of all the stuff in your birth chart and the transits going on and the aspects it makes to your birth chart. For me, it's whenever I, especially in Virgo and in the second house, whenever I can like invest in people and being, um, and using my moon sign Pisces. Ascendant, sun, and moon is really important to look at in this. You know, look at each part of it. So using my moon in Pisces in a healthy, non-codependent way to invest in people and my foundation and my belief system, which is, you know, that you can't, say, okay, you screwed up, you're not worth it now. My foundation is about saying, okay, so you're not perfect, but you're still worth it. You're still meaningful. Every person is, alive for a reason, and you need to figure out why for yourself. And my foundation is about like it includes everyone in it, like people that have labels of, like bully, or a label of, like uh, all sorts of things, like everything, like bullied or bullying, like, being bullied or bullying someone, yourself. If you have those two experiences, you know, what is valuable to me, the second house, fortune in the second house is, no walls between anyone, where everyone feels like, you know, they're worth it, and they can see me, like being my own self and my own person, and like it's about being real, and it's like a boot camp kind of foundation. Like you get what you give, but you're still worth it, not saving people. It's about not saving people. It's about letting people see you as a whole, real person, everything about you, all of your imperfections. So my foundation is about like not being perfect. It's about all of the things about me and you, like, you know, being imperfect and letting people see all the stuff about you as a person, not hiding anything. So if I'm mean to you, I want to admit it, and own it, because, no one's perfect. I'm not going to, like, not have opinions about life and people and situations, and then just say screw you, to everyone on this planet, because that's what my foundation is against, saying, that you're not worth it, because everyone is worth it, but I'm not gonna, like, you know, go, try to save everyone. It's just everyone's welcome to come to my foundation, um, and be a part of it if they want to, in a real way, not a pity me, save me, treat me like I'm perfect in a victim kind of way. It's against being a victim, but and it's for being real and, being true to yourself. And also Lilith, which I will be making more videos about. So this is what I'm trying to explain. My card fortune in the second house is what is important to me. My belief system of what I'm telling you about and my foundation, for my personal life and for my foundation, whatever I put into my foundation is what my beliefs are for my personal life. So that's what's important to me. So with the second house, you need to, show people what's important to you. And what I was gonna say is what the second house is about is like glitter and glam and like the five senses and like you uh fashion like um what I'm saying, what I already said, like all pretty things. And the second fortune in the second house is getting past all that glitter and glam and getting down to the basics of the inner you know um deep stuff about this second house, like what is important to you, your values, getting past all the glitter and glam and like putting yourself into situations and showing people what's valuable to you, like my foundation, and being real with it, not like the second house just on the surface what it is, like the glitter and glam, but like getting to the root of what is important to you and what is valuable to you, which is the second house with your values, and showing people what is important to you and what matters, making sure people can see that a value and see that you're investing in the deep root of what is valuable to you, not the surface glittery stuff about it, and the actual like real importance of something, showing people what matters to you. That's what the second house is all about. um and then the third house is about your mental strength and what you're getting your opinions out there in a Mercury kind of way, not like in a ninth house or second house kind of way, but just what you think, what you want to communicate about, and not being afraid to be show people that you know all opinions matter, and that but showing people what your opinions are, um and having conversations with people where like one person can then you say what you think, and not being afraid to have conversations, um getting your intellectual self out there and show people that you can like be a part of conversations and be a part of like you know um just Mercury stuff, like your ideas and your skills and your communicating and not being afraid to, get your opinions out there, to people. Because otherwise, when you're brave enough to, just say what your opinions are in your, you know, way of communicating. If you do that, then you'll have fortune come to you. But if you are afraid of communicating and afraid of, getting your opinions out there, then you're not going to have fortune. So you have to be brave enough to, get whatever opinion and communicating way you have about you, get that out there and let people see that about you. Then you can have fortune come to you, you know and let people see whatever opinion you have, whether it's different from someone else's, um if there's 10 opinions in the room and you don't want to share yours, that's not going to bring fortune to you. You have to be, confident enough to, you know, get your opinions out there, to everyone. Um, and fortune in the fourth house is all about being vulnerable and home life and family. And um, if you can show your vulnerable side, people are gonna see a leader in you, and then they're going to want to invest in you, in what you're all about, what you're doing, with fortune in your life, wherever your fortune in the fourth house is happening in your life, wherever you're being vulnerable and being a leader by being vulnerable, that's gonna attract fortune to you and people to you. That's gonna get people to want to, invest in what you're all about. If you're hiding your vulnerability, you're not going to have fortune come to you. So make sure you're being vulnerable, and that's going to show leader to people. You know, whenever it's like whenever someone sees something, dollar signs are in their eyes. They're gonna have that experience looking at you when you're vulnerable, because they're gonna see a leader in you. So make sure you're being vulnerable if your fortune is in your fourth house. And then the fifth house is showing creativity and what your hobbies are about, and it's the Leo house. So being a little bit of a show off and like being confident or being proud of your hobbies and your creativity. If you can, whatever it is, like if you're a singer and songwriter, get your creativity out there, and like, don't be afraid to show whatever it is you're interested in, your creativity, your creative side. Make sure you're just, putting it all out there, whatever creative thing you're all about. Don't be afraid to just, your creativity. Um, that is gonna bring fortune to you. If you make sure you're, being a little bit of a show off, and making sure people see what your creative side is all about and your hobbies are all about, or what your talent is in, um, and then the sixth house is about self discipline and about like being helpful, like it's about your health and your routines, and like whenever you can like fix things like around the house or around your work or whatever, like whenever you can show people how to do that for themselves, and whenever people see that you're doing that for yourself, that's going to bring fortune to you. Be brave enough to, you know, like care about something about health or whatever you're interested in. If you like certain kinds of recipes or certain kinds of um, vitamins, or if you like certain kinds of routines, or a yoga, or if you like a certain kind of exercising, or if you any kind of thing like that, whatever you're actually interested in, if you can put that out into the world, let people see that about you, and but be like the kind of like giving, like in a Virgo way. That's the sixth house. Like And fortune is in Virgo or the sixth house. This is what this is about. Being like helpful, serving others, and you know, making sure people see that about you, that you're all about like doing helping people be the best kind of people they can. About sixth house matters, which I mentioned, um make sure you're, all about like, you know um uh you know some kind of like, you know structure in your life somehow, or some kind of routine that suits you. Make sure you tell people all about it, and like say whatever it's about. Like if you have I'm just gonna, tell you all about this. For me, this is where mine is in Virgo. I mean, um I've mentioned this on social media, so I don't give a crap if you know it on YouTube. I have some kind of like thyroid problems and um fibromyalgia, so it's like sleep kind of things going on with me, exhaustion, and like um needing to take it easy sometimes and not overwork myself all at once, like have some kind of strict, 9 to 5 schedule, like, and especially with your sun sign, like mine being Aquarius, that's rebellion and non traditional. So for me, it's all about having my own schedule, owning my own business, you know, and I like dieting, like, um, what my diet is about is not cutting out any foods, and like if you're tired because of a health issue, sleep if you need to, and then, do your work when you're awake. That's what my routine is all about. It has to, because I literally just, I cannot function in a normal schedule, 9 to 5, whatever, what that means. Like I literally cannot do it. So whenever I'm awake, I work and, do, whatever work I'm a part of, own my own business, whatever, which is on my social media. I do work then, and, study astrology while I'm an astrologer, and, I'm whenever I'm not doing astrology, that's when I'm doing astrology too. That's what my life is all about. Whenever you're supposed to be taking a break from your work, I'm still doing astrology. So that's what my life is about. So the sixth house, fortune in the sixth house, is all about like, you know, whatever routine works for you, whatever schedule works for you, whatever, you know, getting, your opinions and your beliefs, like a belief system of, like not being vegan for me, not cutting out any foods, that's what I like to tell people about, on my social media. And it's not all about, eating salads for every meal, because that's ridiculous. You need a healthy balance of all of the foods. That's what my belief system is all about, Jupiter's belief system. So whatever, and like being giving to, just being giving, like just serving people. That's what uh the axis of the sixth and 12th house is about, like just in general, like Virgo and Pisces, but they both have this giving quality to them. So um make sure you're, letting people see that about you, and see that you want to be all about other people, and talking about sixth house matters, and whatever way that works for you, because there's no one set way of it being the right or wrong way, you know be real and honest, and like, make sure you're doing what your part of fortune is about, of that formula, the ancient astrologers use. Make sure you're combining all of this stuff about you, the personality of the zodiac sign, making sure it's being a part of, where fortune is, not trying to like be, like for me, my sun sign, that's your ego. So Aquarius is rebellious and non-traditional. So I'm not gonna go try to be traditional and not rebellious, I'm all for being rebellious and Aquarius by like being about the sixth house, fortune in the sixth house, like, doing my own thing, my own schedule, my own whatever works for me, That's a part of what fortune in the sixth house is about. If your sun sign is Aquarius, or, you know, if it's, something else, you make sure you're doing that kind of sixth house, fortune stuff in that kind of a way, whatever works for you. If it's a more traditional ascendant, sun, or moon, make sure you're doing that. Just don't be, try to go against what is naturally about you. Um, that routines is what the sixth house is about. And if you can just be true to yourself, make sure you're not trying to be something you're not, That's just really important what the sixth house is all about for each person, figuring out what suits you. And the seventh house is about relationships, but not being codependent. Figuring out who you are through relationships. You get what I'm saying? Not being codependent, like, and like needing to feed off of others. Like, figure out who you are, but you're going to do it through relationships. So you can't get a fortune coming to you by being independent and not having people in your life, especially if the fortune is in your seventh house. You're gonna get fortune attracted to you if you're brave enough to figure out who you are and not be codependent by being around people. And there's several kinds of placements in the birth chart where this is this way about the seventh house, It's not everything like the North Node is really about like being in relationships and caring what other people want, But fortune in the seventh house is about making sure you're, like I said, being in relationships and figuring out who you are through relationships. Um, make sure you're seeing what is going on with you in relationship, what tendencies you have, to be codependent or not, what business you're in, what kind of relationships you're in for your personal life, what social groups, gatherings you're a part of. Figure out who you are in such settings, make sure you're, being in relationships and not avoiding relationships or something. Then you'll get fortunate attracted to you through figuring out who you are in relationships. And then the eighth house is all about money and crisis and sticky situations that no one wants to be a part of, and death and transformation, like and fear, like whenever you're not afraid to be a part of transformation, kind of stirring things up, and power and control. Like, whenever you're using your fortune in the eighth house and using the power and the control that comes along with the eighth house to, get yourself out there in the world, stir things up and be all eighth housey, like transformation, and like, you know, um, like, you know, um, if there's, if you're a part of like Habitat for Humanity, it's like, if there's some old house, tearing it down and building a new one, that's what the eighth house is all about. Like, and how you deal with such situations. Whenever you can have a strong personality and deal with it, you know, just get in that messy situation and just, get it people on board that, like be a part of the transformation, That's when fortune comes to, when your fortune is in the eighth house. Don't be afraid to deal with things that other people don't want to deal with. Because if you don't want to deal with it, you're not going to have fortune come to you. And then the ninth house is all about teaching and culture and the deeper meaning of things, like um, traveling and other people, other countries, and um, whenever you can be a part of such things, that's when fortune will come to you. Whenever you're interested in other people and other cultures and the deeper meaning of life, what the ninth house is all about, and like higher education, and like um uh you know getting deeper into things like such subjects, then your comfort zone expands. But if you're like, avoiding such things, you're not going to have a big comfort zone. You know, expand your comfort zone. Expanding is what the ninth house is about in Jupiter. So if you can expand your comfort zone into such areas of life like traveling and culture, then you'll get fortune coming to you. If you, you know, get out there in the world, and or as much as you possibly can, however that is, like through social media, if that's the only way you can at the moment, or if it's, eventually being able to, literally travel to countries and, be part of cultures, and, that's when fortune will come to you. If you're, expanding your comfort zone and getting out there into the world, into ninth house things. Um, then the 10th house is all about authority and success. And it's a Capricorn house, so it's all about authority. Like, whenever you have like success in your work, whenever you have this authority about you, that's when fortune will come to you. If you're avoiding such 10th house matters, avoiding work, avoiding responsibilities, or, you know, that kind of stuff, then fortune's not going to come to you. But if you can embrace, um, the authority side of the 10th house, in a good way, and not like being a jerk, but just in a healthy way, like, getting into business, or not business necessarily, but whatever business you are in, whatever work you're in, whenever you embrace that, be a part of it and have success in your work, that's when fortune comes to you. Um, And then for the 11th house, if you are, that's the Aquarius house, which is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So whenever you're reigning kind of, doing the 11th house things like innovations and social groups and sharing your ideas and in a Uranus way, like I said, in an unusual way, like not being afraid to do that, whenever you're brave enough to get your Uranus, freak on and get like your innovations out there. If it's something weird, it's not weird, but if you think it is, tell people about it, and then then you'll attract fortune to you. If you think it's weird and you don't share it, you're not gonna attract fortune to you. So you have to make sure you're, getting your innovations out there, and not afraid to be a part of different social groups and, tell people what your ideas are all about. Um, then the 12th house is about the unconscious and all about Zen and finding yourself through Zen experiences, like losing yourself in the unconscious world. Then you'll attract fortune to you. But if you're afraid of the hidden things about life, if you're afraid to, be a part of Zen experiences, like losing yourself to find yourself, that's what the 12th house is all about. Then you're not going to attract fortune to you. But if you can embrace that, you know, other world kind of, way of being, and just like it's, Pisces is the fish, so if you can just like, you know, open up that door to that world and just swim in there, like the Pisces, and about psychic stuff and Neptune things like boundaries, like it's all about no boundaries with this placement. If you can embrace that, then you'll have fortune come to you. If people can see that about you. If you're doing such things, and just being all about that other world kind of way of living, then you'll attract fortune to you. Um and if you have fortune in the a certain house and it's with the sun, people are going to notice you for sure. Like you're gonna have a easy time of being noticed. You know, not you don't need to put any effort into it. Um, so people are just gonna for sure notice you, and they're gonna want to, like see what you're all about, and the sun is the ego. So if you're all about whatever the sun is about naturally with that conjunction, then you can attract fortune to you. Um, Make sure you're, like embracing that conjunction, not like avoiding it. But it'll naturally be that way though. I mean, it's not something you can like help, that conjunction. People are naturally gonna notice you. And it's like all about your individuality, like what is important to you and what being your own boss, like if people see that about you, then you'll attract fortune to you. And then for the moon, if the part of fortune is in the same house as the moon, you can be like super extremely sensitive and people will want to know what you're all about them. If you're avoiding that, people will not want to be around you. Like you won't attract fortune to you then. So you have to make sure um, that you're you know being sensitive. Um, Hey, Ray Brown. Can you give me a horoscope? I'm an Aries. This from you. Uh, my social media has a little link in the bio of I just want to make sure that I'm telling you this right. For some reason, uh, B DeVero official, BDVRO official is my Twitter account. So for any questions, comments, suggestions, if you want me to do some horoscope for you for my foundation, there's only parts of it that are free, like fortune and moon placement, and it's on there. So, or if you want a paid service, go to my Twitter account and the link in the bio where the help official help account is, because I'm not gonna answer questions any other place. That's the place. I need people to get on board with me about this, and that's the place to ask me questions, or if you pay for something on my website. Otherwise, I don't address such things. So I hope you understand, but I need people to, get organized here with me about this, and you know, um, communicate with me on there about such things. So I'd, be willing to do that for you if you, can work with me about that. So anyway, but thanks for, your question there about that. So anyway, um, and so the part of fortune is with Mercury. It's all about your intellectual mind. Uh, People are gonna see, your intellectual, ideas and communicating happening with this placement. And you can attract fortune to you that way. If you're a part of that, if you're making sure you're brave enough to do that, it's like wherever the part of fortune is in a certain house, or zodiac sign, it's kind of similar to that. Like the planets, like the sun is about the fifth house, moon is about the fourth house, Mercury is about the third house, Venus is of the seventh and the second house, Mars is of the first and the eighth, Jupiter is about the ninth and the 12th, Saturn is about the 10th and part of the 11th, and Uranus is the 11th, Neptune is the 12th, Pluto is the 8th. So, by the way, I have that memorized, which astrologers do. So, because my moon is in Pisces, I get vibes from people where they think I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. So, anyway, I do though. It's not on here, my notes. This is just strictly about fortune, just a few notes. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because in case you didn't know, I get sick of it. In case you were wondering, but anyway, that's cool though. I mean, like I said, my foundation is all about being true to yourself. So if you want to say something to me, that's cool, and then I can say something back. Have a conversation. That's perfectly all right. It's just that I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. I really want people to see what I'm all about, my foundation is about, and my personality, which is partly Mercury in Capricorn, and my Aries midheaven. So, that's cool if you want to say something to me, but it's cool if I say something to you. So, anyway, just to let you know, astrologers have this basic astrology memorized. Like, they know about astrology. It's not, you know, some kind of like I don't, just say, hey, this is what that person, wrote, and I'm just telling you about it. That's not what astrology is about. It's not what being an astrologer is about. So anyway, in case you were wondering, maybe that can be a part of what my fortune is about. In the second house, what matters to me, and the sixth house, helping people, like with sixth house matters, like routines, like or whatever, I don't know, health things, your mind, that's your health too. So anyway, just to let you know, um, so anyway, if fortune is with your Venus, you're gonna be charming and loving and but more of it in a charming way. Like people are gonna see this charisma about you and like that about you, and they're gonna want to get on board with what you're all about. If you are doing that Venusian thing, if your fortune is with Venus, is in the same house as Venus, make sure you're naturally being the way you are, which, like I just said, is natural, which is charming. If you're trying to hide your charm, you're not going to attract fortune to you. That's how fortune works. Don't hide whatever's going on with it. Embrace it, and then you can attract fortune to you. So if fortune is with Mars, it's aggressive and having a strong personality. But you want to make sure you're doing the Mars stuff like in a healthy way, like being a leader, like Aries or whatever, or Scorpio, like the eighth house, like what I said, not like being a jerk or something, not the like a bully, aggressive kind of like a jerk. Don't do that Mars stuff. Be a leader and be strong, and people will see that, and then you'll attract fortune to you. And then if I don't know why I'm even looking at my notes because I know what the plants are about, but I don't want to forget anything. And the my Mercury in Capricorn has to think about stuff sometimes, and I don't know. There's good and bad about each Mercury sign. When mine has its difficult things, so if I have notes on some things, like I said, I don't have notes on everything, but if I have notes on some things, then I can keep on talking and get on with the video, which is turning out to be long. But anyway, so Mars, Jupiter, you can be socially successful and generous. Like, if people see, now, this is one placement I want to make sure you understand. If your part of fortune is with Jupiter, if you are not being generous about whatever you're doing, whatever you're all about, you're not going to attract fortune to you. If you can be generous, you're going to attract fortune to you. So even if someone sees you being generous and thinking that someone's walking all over you, they know it's not true. They know deep down inside of them, this is what is attracting fortune to you. If you keep doing that, if you avoid that and aren't brave enough to do that, you're not going to attract fortune to you. So you need to make sure you're being generous, and then you'll be successful, socially successful. But you naturally are with Jupiter, with fortune anyway. And then with Saturn, it's all about structure. It's all about like being an adult, but like not going overboard with it. Not letting the negative side of Saturn, rule your life and your fortune. If you can do the positive sides of Saturn, be an adult and structured, like in a healthy way, not in a crazy, like overboard kind of way. Then you'll attract fortune to you. And then with Neptune or Uranus, it's all about rebellion and being, having that quirky kind of way of being, or thinking outside the box. If you do that, then you'll attract fortune to you. And like I'm saying, it's a natural kind of thing, but you need to make sure you're doing that though. Then you'll attract fortune to you, because if you're not brave enough to, fortune is all about, expressing yourself and being brave enough to express yourself. So if you're brave enough to express yourself in a Uranian kind of way, then you'll attract fortune to you. But you have to just like that about you. Don't dislike any of these placements because they're not bad. They're good. If you embrace any placement you have with the part of fortune, then you'll attract fortune to you. You can't be afraid to do these things, or you're not going to attract fortune to you. And then with Neptune, that's a good placement for being an astrologer. It's all about compassion and creativity in the psychic, world. So if you're embracing that, um, the creative part of you, and I'm going to, stress this, like I was saying about Jupiter being, if your fortune is with Neptune, you have to be compassionate for people, It's not stupid or naive or, a waste of time. It's what you're supposed to do. So, especially if you have like moon in Pisces like me, and I have to double check, but I think my fortune is in the sixth house. And Jupiter, I know it is. Jupiter and Mercury and Neptune are with my fortune. So if you watch this video and you heard what I said about this planets, you need to let me be the way I am about this, with fortune being conjunct to my Neptune and Mercury and Jupiter. If I'm being compassionate, fortune's going to come to me, Neptune, compassion. If I'm not being compassionate, I'm not going to have fortune. So if you're seeing me being compassionate, and somehow or another, you naturally can see, to a certain extent, fortune in someone, like what fortune is all about. Like, you don't have to go explain, okay, so my fortune's in the whatever house and it's conjunct to whatever planet, and it's in the certain zodiac. So you don't have to explain that. It's natural. So if you see me doing what I'm supposed to be doing with my fortune, fortune is going to come to me then, and you need to appreciate that about me or anyone, and I need to appreciate that about you. Why I love studying astrology. And that's why I'm an astrologer, because of this placement, for one thing. You need to let someone be who they are, encourage people to be all about their fortune and whatever aspects there are to it, which include the conjunction and the opposition and the square, which is basic astrology. Whenever the difficult aspects are being activated, that's when situations can happen in synastry or a natal chart. The easy aspects are not going to make it happen. The difficult aspects make it happen. So anyway, that's Neptune basically, and then Pluto is all about uh, yeah, I said that already, kind of more like power and control and transformation. About if the eighth house, I kind of already basically said that if you stir things up, it's a little bit of, sometimes you can explain things in a little bit of a different way for Pluto or the eighth house, which is the same thing. And I meant to do that more, but I basically just did all in one. So if your fortune is in a house with Pluto, like not the eighth house, but like if it's in the first house or something, you have to, be all about you, but in a Pluto way, if it's with Pluto or something, or if it's what you value in the second house, or if it's your communicating way of being, the third house, or if Mercury is with Pluto also, you have to make sure you're, stirring things up and, doing Pluto things, not, being afraid to get in sticky, messy situations that no one wants to deal with, because then fortune will come to you, if you can, make sure you know what all the placements are about. This is such a very extremely important placement to have, to make sure you know all about wherever fortune is, whatever aspects it makes, whatever zodiac sign it's in, whatever house it's in. It's such an extremely, extremely important subject to know about you. And that's why I do my birth chart readings for anyone, whether it's in my actual astrology practice, the paid services I do for people, or for my free foundation, which fortune is a part of my foundation more, but I might touch on some aspects in the birth chart paid services, in deeper, aspects, for that. But it's like the first thing I look at, and when I do birth chart readings, and then I look at, the sun, and moon separately and stuff, but it is such an extremely important subject to know about. And if you want to get a grasp on life and relating to people, figure out, excuse me, I'm talking too much now. It's like I can't do this forever. So if you want to, what I just said, figure out where fortune is in your house, in your birth chart. Figure out all the placements of it, and do what your fortune is all about, and then you can really get ahead in life, and get fortune drawn to you, and whatever you're all about. That's what people will see about you then, if you can figure out where fortune is and do whatever it's all about. Um, so anyway, thanks for watching this video.